I'm Chef Jenny of Jentree Whole Foods. You're joining me today in my teaching kitchen and good food studio here in downtown Georgetown. Today I'm going to be sharing with you one of my favorite seasonal recipes. It's my winter vegetable root slaw. Seasonal eating is such an important part of maintaining a healthy lifestyle. Not only can it be more cost-effective to eat seasonally, but it is also a great way to eat green. Of course, if we're choosing seasonal veggies, they have a shorter distance to travel to us. And also eating in harmony with the seasons is a really great way to support your body in the changes that each season and the challenges that each season will bring.
There's a food fight going on. A fight between your right to know what's in your food and those who don't want you to know. Genetically modified organisms, or GMOs, are plants or animals created by forcing the DNA from one species into another. Sounds like science fiction, but you can walk into most stores and find GMO products on the shelves, unless you look for the Organic or Non-GMO Project Verified seal. The Non-GMO Project is North America's only third-party verification program. Protect your right to know what's in your food. Visit nongmoproject.org.
Today's recipe features two of my favorite seasonal vegetables, celeriac being the first one. Celery root, also called celeriac, is a cousin to celery. It has a really beautiful, mild celery flavor, but it's also packed with lots of minerals and vitamins. It's very high in iron, and it also is loaded with vitamin C. And of course, vitamin C is one of those healthy vitamins that will help to support your immune system. The second root vegetable that I wanted to show you that we're using today is a rutabaga. And rutabaga, if I could choose my favorite root vegetable, this would probably be it. It is a wonderfully nourishing source of a great dietary fiber that will help to support your digestive system. It's a member of the cruciferous vegetable family, so it is cousins with broccoli, cauliflower, and Brussels sprouts, but it has a really beautiful sort of mild, sweet flavor. Just like celery root, you can use rutabaga either raw, like we're doing today, or you can also cook it. It's wonderful mashed in with sweet potatoes or roasted along with some other root vegetables. As well as being high in dietary fiber, rutabaga is very high in potassium, and potassium helps to support energy production and healthy metabolism as well. The other ingredients that we're going to be using today, we're going to be adding some antivirals to our recipe. And antivirals are ingredients that will help to fight viruses, colds, bacteria in your body. So wonderful to incorporate these into your diet during cold and flu season. So we're going to be using some red onion. We're also going to be using some local raw honey as well, which is a really powerful antiviral. So the first thing you want to do before we start the recipe is to gather all of your equipment together. So this recipe is very simple to put together. You don't need a whole lot of equipment. You're going to need a nice sharp knife in order to get the peel and the outer layer of the two root vegetables off. Of course, you need a clean cutting board as well. And we're going to be shredding our vegetables today. So you can either use a food processor if you have one, or you could use a regular box grater like we have here. You're going to want to use the larger sort of cheddar holes on your box grater. You can also use a vegetable spiralizer. And these are great. They give you sort of those beautiful vegetable ribbons that are quite nice as well. So if you have a little handheld spiralizer, you can use that too. So we'll just get started here. And the first thing you want to do is you're going to grab your root vegetables, and we're going to peel them. So very, very simple to peel these guys. They're both kind of scary looking, but you just want to take off the outer skin and the sort of nubbly bits that are on the rutabaga and on the celery root as well. So once you have all of those peeled up, you're just going to cut them into smaller sections, sort of like this, so that they can go through your food processor or that they're easier to hold on to while you grate them. So I'm just going to grate, I've got one small celery root here. and the equivalent of about half of a large rutabaga. And a large rutabaga is about the one that we have over there in the bowl that I just showed you. So that's this much here. As well, for this recipe, we're going to be adding a large carrot. So if you have a carrot, you want to make sure that you get an organic carrot this time of year, and they should be available locally. And the reason you want to try and choose organic is so that you can keep the skin on. So you want to make sure that you keep the skin on your root vegetables like carrots, because there's lots of minerals and vitamins that are very, very close to the skin. So if you get a local organic one, you can just, wash the skin and just use it as is, and all of those beautiful minerals and vitamins are going to stay in it. So I'm just going to cut off the top and the bottom of my little carrot here. And it's been pre-washed. And we're just going to put all of these vegetables through the food processor so that we can shred them. Okay, so our root vegetables are all shredded here, and they look lovely in this bowl, and I know you can't smell it through the camera, but it already smells good. So now we're going to mix up the dressing. And for the dressing, I'm going to start with one of our antivirals that we were discussing. This is a red onion here, and I'm going to be using a quarter of this. So to prepare the red onion, I just want to cut off the stem end and the root end. And then you're going to cut it north to south here, right through the middle. And then you're going to cut that in half again. And we're just going to take off the outer layer of skin, just to remove the papery skins here. If you don't have a red onion at home, you could use a regular cooking onion. You want to use a little bit less, because regular cooking onions are sometimes a little bit spicier than the red onion. The red onion tends to be a little bit sweeter. You could also use green onions or shallots as well in this recipe. So just need a quarter. And once you take the skin off your onion, you can see that there are natural grooves in the onion here. If we cut along those natural grooves, if we follow those lines along the onion, then our slices are going to stay intact. If we actually cut across the grain there, what happens is you're destroying all those little cell walls in between, and your onions are actually going to soften up a little bit quicker. So because we're not actually going to be sauteing or cooking these onions today, I'm going to be cutting across the grain in order to have my onions just a little bit softer in the actual dressing, in the actual slaw. So you just turn it on its side, and you just want to quickly sort of run your knife through it. So fairly thin. And then those are going to go into your little dressing bowl here. Now we're going to mix up a dressing, and this one has a beautiful, this dish has a beautiful creamy dairy-free dressing. So the base of it is actually going to be a natural mayonnaise. So you can make your own mayo at home. You can use a vegan mayonnaise if you'd like as well to make this a vegan dish, or you can use a really good quality store-bought brand. You don't want to use the ones that are labeled as salad dressing. You want to use an actual real mayonnaise. So we're using about half a cup of that. And then we're going to be using 1 to 2 tablespoons, depending on if you like your slaw a little bit more sort of sour. I do. I like that sort of bite to my slaw, so I'm going to use the 2 tablespoons. And this is an apple cider vinegar. You can substitute any vinegar that you like. You can also use lime juice or lemon juice as well, which would be lovely. I'm going to add in some cracked black peppercorns here too. So you can do this to taste. I usually add about 1/4 to half a teaspoon in there. And then we're going to be using some raw honey. And I want to add about 2 tablespoons. This is a beautiful local raw honey. And raw honey is wonderful for fighting seasonal allergies, but it's also a really powerful antiviral, and it fights bacteria. So again, another great thing during cold and flu season to add into your diet. As well, I'm going to season it up with a little bit of natural sea salt. So just a little pinch. About 1/8 to 1/4 teaspoon. You don't want to add too much seasoning at this point. You want to be able to mix it with the slaw. You want to taste it and see if you need a little bit more seasoning at that point. You don't want to add it all right now. And the other thing that we're going to add in here is some fresh herbs. And today we're using fresh tarragon. I always prefer to use fresh herbs rather than the dried versions. The essential oils, the beautiful essential oils that are contained in fresh herbs often don't hold up well to the drying process. So that's why if you can get a hold of fresh herbs or grow them yourself at home during this time of year, it's always a great option. So this is tarragon that we're using. Tarragon has a really lovely sort of light licoricey flavor, but really any of your favorite light herbs can be used in this. So the delicate herbs like dill, basil would be beautiful, chives would be beautiful as well in here. We're going to be using about 1/4 cup of whatever herb you'd like. And you're just going to just quickly run your knife through. So it's chopped up a little bit more. And in that goes. And then you're just going to mix this up, making sure that everything is incorporated. And the sea salt that we've added to our dressing here will actually help to soften the onion as well a little bit. There, that looks beautiful. So again, I told you this recipe was really quick and easy. We've done the 2 different components here, and now all that's left to do is to mix them together. You don't want to waste a bit of this dressing, it's so delicious. Now this dressing recipe on its own can be doubled or tripled and held in the refrigerator for up to a week. So it's a lovely addition to your regular lettuce salads as well. So I'm just going to incorporate the dressing in with the slaw here. We've got all these beautiful colors, the purple from the red onion, and of course the beautiful green from that tarragon, and then the buttery yellow from the rutabaga, and the orange from the carrot as well. So there we go. So before you serve it, you just want to taste it to make sure that it has enough seasoning. And you know that it has enough seasoning when it tastes so good to you that you want to go back for a second spoonful. Flavor or salt actually doesn't act as a flavor enhancer, but what it does is it allows your palate to taste all of the flavors all at once. So if it's tasting a little bland to you, then you just add in a little bit extra sea salt and just add it to taste, and it will be delicious. So you just grab your serving bowl. We're going to serve this with some tongs today. I'm just going to scrape it in there. I always like mixing my salad in one bowl and then transferring it to the serving bowl afterwards. Just makes for a little bit neater presentation. There we go. And then we're going to garnish with some dried fruits, and today I'm using currants. Currants have a really sort of light, sweet, raisiny kind of flavor. So these are just the dried currant berries, and those are going to go on top. So they just add a little pop of sweetness to the salad, which is quite pleasing. And today, for crunch and texture and some extra flavor as well, I'm going to be using some pecans. You can use any nut that you would like, so you can use some raw onions, you could use pistachios, would be lovely on this as well. You can also use, if you wanted to keep it nut-free to be able to take to work or send to schools, you can use sesame seeds, you could use sunflower seeds, or raw pumpkin seeds would be beautiful too. So there is our finished dish, our finished slaw, all ready to go. So this is a beautiful, quick, seasonal recipe highlighting some of the beautiful local produce that we have available right now, some of these sort of underused root vegetables that we kind of tend to walk by in the grocery store, but now we have a great way to use them for our lunches. You can have it for a dinner as well, and it serves about 6 to 8 people, a very healthy serving for about 6 to 8, and it is just a wonderful addition to your table. So I hope you run out to the store now, get all of the ingredients that you need to make this, and enjoy it at home. Thanks for joining us.